acting like bullying is all bad. It's not all bad. Like, that's how we got a lot of like goofy motherfuckers in media now. Like, imagine academics would have got jumped a bunch of times growing up. And now we wouldn't have to deal with that dude.
He'd be a different person.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He'd probably be a lot more, reserved and humble,
I mean, it's kind of funny you bring him up because it's like those are the two ends of the spectrum where it's like kind of what you do, which I think resonates more broadly. And then there's kind of the edgy kick streamer side of it.
Right.
That's one thing that is sad about United States. It's like we're not making men anymore.
Not a lot of them.
No.
When they are, they stand out.
Yeah, that's why it's like a lot of times in these movies, if you have an alpha male, a lot of times that American alpha male is being played by an Australian or somebody from
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, it's so it's like it's very rarely an American. It's like such a trip, man.
Well, masculinity is demonized here for some strange reason over the last couple of decades.
Bruh, I saw the beginning of a lot of it because, like I said, I was a school teacher. And I was right on the forefront seeing like everybody gets a trophy. These kids, they're it's about their self-esteem and you got to protect them. I'm like, come on. And, taking away competition.
Yeah.
I saw the beginning of that shit. And it's just so bad. That's one thing. And then these kids don't know how to deal with loss or anything, and then they end up shooting a classroom.
Right.
Yeah,
dealing with loss is one of the most important lessons you could ever learn. If you want to get better, lose.
Yeah.
Losing is the best medicine because you lose. I don't ever want to feel that again. And then you start thinking about all the things that you cut corners on, all the things that you didn't do. What can I do differently to make sure that never happens again, that I never feel that feeling? Or you quit. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
Either you get way better or you quit. But winning, sometimes you don't learn. You go, well, I'm doing the right thing. I'm winning. I'm getting better. I'm developing confidence. That's good. But, man, sometimes a loss is the best medicine.
And then these kids don't know how to deal with loss or anything, and then they end up shooting
I'm not going to be long-winded. I seen two clips. Originally, it was just going to be the Mero clip or what he said. Put the audio in there. Check out the real one on playlist, and also came across this Michael Jai White clip. So I think they run parallel, right? And we're going to talk about what Mero said first. He talked about in the media, but just in the world today, bullying, not being able to, basically, I won't even just say bullying, where the laws have made the weak feel safe. A lot of people say things that, even just take social media out of it, they say things or do things and laws keep things in check. And laws ain't always a good thing. All right. I believe law and religion is really used to separate the politicians and the wealthy from the poor. All right. To keep that gap there. Once people understand, really the people, the citizens, the everyday working people are the correction officers. They are the military. They are the fire department, the police department, the current structure, especially in America, the citizens run it. If they wanted to make some shake, they could. The politicians have no real power. Think about it. They're not strong. They're not powerful without a country or a number of people leading them. But they make these laws where somebody can harm your children. But if you do harm to them, or you got to go to jail. And I always talk about that story back like in the early 2010s on the east side of Detroit. It was a guy that kept robbing his house. He got off early. I believe he was an armed security guard. He caught them robbing his house, and the guy was taking this stuff through the back alley, and he was saying like, what you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? And he popped him, and they put him in jail for like 1 to 2 years or something like that. You feel me? So once you start looking at it, it was another story in Georgia a few years ago where a guy broke into his house and the dogs mauled him to death. They took the dogs into custody. How can you, as a criminal, do criminal activity and then become the victim? That's what I'm talking about. And that's kind of like this bullying stuff. A lot of people can go around here, say stuff, do stuff, and knowing once people won't take retaliation because we have laws and the construct to protect them. Like I said, just take away social media away from it in the real world. Would Whitlock say the stuff that he said? He talk about DJ Academic. Would he say the stuff that he? No. It won't be as much shit talking as you see. And that's because they've eliminated the physical aspect of it through laws, through a female's perspective. See, this is why you see a lot of the female perspective get backed up by the reading rainbow male perspective, right? Because we knew if we live in a masculine, in a really live in a really patriarch society, it wouldn't even be that. It wouldn't even be that. And what I find so funny is that a lot of the women, they sit here and they want feminism. They want femininity to go throughout society, but then they complain about when the men become feminine. You know, you see how I'm tying that into what Michael Jai White was saying when they complain about the femininity, but low key, all of them got an eggplant. They got an alpha man's eggplant in their mouth. All of them desire a true alpha male. See, yeah, they'll sit here and they'll, pet the heads of these simp providers. Sometimes they'll marry these simps and take them for half and then leave them or separate them or divorce them and go out there and get their cheeks clapped by the men they really want to, a real alpha man or a real man that they desire. And these simps like Eva Pickford's fucking husband will take them right back when they find out nobody wants to wife them. But before I transition to the Michael Jai White clip, like Mero said, a lot of these dudes in the media, in general, a lot of these dudes, talk all this type of stuff. They say all of this because the laws protect them. This new outrage protects them. When somebody sees somebody getting hands, foot, toes, and elbows put on them, they assume that person is a victim and don't think about nothing or possibly what he or she had done wrong. A lot of times, a lot of people deserve exactly what they got coming to them. It's not that people acting just out of emotion. Disrespect is to be handled. Now, it's levels to disrespect. There's certain things disrespectful. We was talking about when old buddy slapped that streamer, Dean the Great, when Larry Will slapped the streamer. You're not going to disrespect me. People was like, well, you willing to go to jail over a woman? It ain't about the wife. It's about the disrespect. You don't disrespect me. And like I said before, America's ready to be fucking taken over. They make a lot of weak men now. And that's because they don't have to go through the process of getting outside, getting off that tablet, getting into the trenches, knowing that it's consequences and repercussions. It's consequences and repercussions. Your mouth, sticks and stones may not break my words in that. Well, words hurt. Words will get you clipped. And this is why these dudes can hide behind the computer screen, hide in their mama's basement, hide in their house. And they have to, they have to have security when they go somewhere. I don't need no fucking security. I'm telling y'all, man, it's what he's saying is true. When they protected all the weak men, all the weak people with all these laws, this is when you had that, pedo stuff went up the way it did. This is when that weird activity went up the way it did. This is when domestic violence went up the way it did. This is when abuse went up the way it did. This is when, kids have been disrespectful and kids don't have no discipline and structure. When they said you can't discipline your kids this way, that's the way it is. Now, Michael Jai White getting into what he said, and him and Joe Rogan had the conversation. He said he was a school teacher. He seen it when it happened. Yeah, it was the pain of losing. I remember I didn't make the basketball team one time. I can't remember what grade it was. But I knew I was just as good and better than some people that made the team. Right? And I cried in my grandmother's kitchen. I never forget it. They let me cry. And I wasn't 5 or 6. I had to be about 10, 11. And I'm just like, yo, I play with these guys all the time and I'm busting their ass. But I didn't know it at the time. I was learning the lesson that we all learn in corporate America. The best candidate don't get the job. It's who you know, how they like you. And I learned that's taught me. That's a lesson that I learned then. That I didn't understand I was learning. And then when I got into corporate America, I get it. This is it, certain things. I remember T.I., he talked about how school prepares children to be workers in the workforce, right? And not to be bosses. And not everybody got the mentality to be a boss. Let me say that. people talking about they want to work for themselves, but they know the amount of work that and stress that go into it. Most people won't want to do it, right? But in that way, yeah, you learn. I learned that. I remember we was in a baseball championship. Our team name was the Power Rangers. And, you know, some of the parents got mad at the coach in the championship. And this was going on, this is about 97, 96, 97, 98-ish. And the parents got mad about the coach wasn't doing something. He was a volunteer cop. And they started pulling the kids off the baseball diamond in the middle of the championship game, and we lost. And when Joe Rogan said either you quit or you learn a lesson, a lot of women, they're cowardly. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. They're cowardly. They're meant to hide. They're meant to run. Men, we meant to take it on the chin. But with the women doing the majority of the raising, they're teaching their sons, oh, just quit. I remember I did football. I was like, just quit, you know, because the other family son that we signed up with quit. But that wasn't the answer. That kind of programmed my mind. When the going get tough, quit. No, when the going get tough, it's like when you're running. When you're running and you feel to get tired, you got to keep going. And then you hit that second wind or that quote unquote runner's high. You know? So when you quit, yeah, you feel like I quit. You feel a relief, but then it's a point of disappointment and shame. But if you keep going and you keep going and you keep going, you know, and you just keep persevering, you feel accomplished. That's how I think about when I run. I hate to run. When I'm cutting weight and I got to run, see, everybody do the slow walking on the treadmill. I do that once a week. But when I'm cutting, I'm running. You know, oh, I need the fat burning zone. And no, because if you cutting weight, just because you cut, let me give y'all the gym here. And I see people in the comment section ask me how to cut weight and maintain your muscle mass. I might talk about it. I might not. But on the Patreon. But the thing about it that I learned, I remember I lost a bunch of weight when I got done with college my freshman year. And the guy showed me how to cut weight and still look good. A lot of people cut weight and they look soft. They look pudgy. You look better with the weight on. And one thing I found out, I was at the slow walking, the 2-a-days, you know. But one thing I found out, one day we was running from St. Andrews, you know, in Detroit. We was leaving from St. Andrews, I believe. I don't know if it was St. Andrews, either Lot 1210, St. Andrews, Burt's, the one on Burt's on Broad. We was running from somewhere. I'm like, man, I lost all that weight, but I'm still kind of tired from running. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, when I started, you know, I started putting sprint in, you know, distance running in there. That way you lose the weight, but you increase the cardio, you increase your endurance, and definitely works in the bedroom. But, excuse me. But, you know, but nonetheless, like, that's what I learned. Just keep going, because it'd be disappointing when I be running and I stop. But when I run and I keep going, even if I struggle to get across that finish line, I'm accomplished. No matter what happened in that workout, whether I have a great lift or I don't, I felt accomplished in the first, because I like to do cardio first. I felt accomplishment in that first leg. So I had to train myself to keep going, even though it's tough, keep going. Even I got to take a break and start it again. Keep going. And he's right. You got to keep going. Perseverance is the key. But when you give out participation trophy awards, when you get a pat on the hat, when nobody's a loser, when you don't go through the pain of not making the team and everybody get to make the team, you know, when you got to include everybody, you don't get excluded, and you got to have, you don't, like, that takes away the pain. That takes away the motivation. That's femininity. To quit, to hide, to pick another sport, to pick another avenue. No, get better. Get better. So that's pretty much told me, man. I just had to keep grinding, had to keep going. And I had to learn that, because a lot of women just, quit. You know, you don't want to do it. Quit. That's their mindset. And then with them being the main raisers of the children are throwing off the nuclear family, that's why you got more kids just willing to quit. Most women don't want to work. You hear about women, they fought to work, they complain, I don't want to go to work. And I'll drop this gem at the end of this video right quick, right? I was going to talk about it. Maybe I'll do a short on the Free Game 89 channel, all my other platforms and things I do on social media. It's in the link, the first link in the description. Say, find me everywhere. Click there, donate the whole nine. But one thing, you know, people talking about why ain't they hiring women in the workplace is because A, they don't work as hard. They take a bunch of days off. B, you know, a lot of the suits and harassments, you know, They elevate when you integrate women into the workplace. Remember the woman from Equinox that was always late, but she sued Equinox, the gym, and got a whole bunch of money. Even when you have them in a female predominant work area, it's a lot of mess, a lot of bullshitting. They half-ass wiping people ass in the nursing homes and shit. They not as thorough, and they don't take they don't take as much pride in their work as men do for the most part. Not saying this is just so it's not some good female worker, but that's why. Men are programmed to work harder, work through pain. That's our program. That's not their program. They're nurturers. They're teachers. They got more patience to teach, but that's pretty much why. But that's all I had to say. A little bit longer than I expected. Like I said, hit the link tree. It's the first link in the description. Find me everywhere. Click it. Find me everywhere. Instagram, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, my other platforms, my Detroit channel. Peace.